The Arab Islamic medico-culinary tradition is based on Greek humoral theory and indigenous culinary practices, much of which touched on the idea of dietetics. Dietetics, in the sense of medieval Islamic medicine and culture, is defined as the systematic control of food and drink in order to conserve health or combat disease. The great emphasis put on dietetics in medieval Islam can be illustrated by the many works that discuss it. For example, the culinary manual written by Islamic scholar Abu Isa al-Warraq, which discusses which foods are appropriate for which ages, the benefits and harms of various foods, and the nature of food. In fact, the translation of works discussing dietetics is said to have led to the availability of many important medical works today. So why use food as medicine? Well, Muhammad, the founder of Islam, said the stomach is home of disease, and dieting is the main medicine. In this sense, the stomach was considered to be the first line of defense for the body and the origin place of every disease, as invaders or pathogens must first get through the stomach's defenses in order to infect other areas in the body. As a result of these beliefs, it was concluded that maintaining a healthy diet was the best form of both preventative and curative medicine. Before we jump into some examples, let's touch on some general guidelines given by the physicians and people of medieval Islam regarding eating habits. First, healthy adults should have 3 meals a day, children more frequent meals, and the elderly increasingly more frequent meals of lesser volume. The timing of these meals should be set at a specific time each day and eaten at that same time consistently, or disease might ensue. Secondly, eating too much puts you at risk for disease. Imtela, as they called it, is when the organs are overloaded with too much food. Lastly, it was believed that sleep was largely beneficial for proper digestion, so postponing sleep until the ingested food gets to the bottom of the stomach was believed to be critical for one's health. As our first example, let's discuss the treatment of smallpox and measles, which were common illnesses at the time. Specific foods or types of foods were used to treat symptoms of smallpox and measles. Note that foods were oftentimes prescribed and eaten in accordance to the time of day or season. In general, if you have the disease, you should be eating acidic foods such as pomegranates and mulberries, and you should not be eating honey, mixtures of flesh, or excessively sweet foods. For those with a hot temperament, barley water with acid pomegranate juice was recommended in the morning, and for those with a cold temperament, gourds, serpent cucumbers, and watermelons were recommended. For those with symptoms of a white and red complexion, eating cooling and drying foods was recommended. For those with a fever and bodily pains, it was recommended to only take barley water in the morning and evening. For the most common symptom, pustules in the nose and mouth, parched barley with pomegranate water was recommended. As you can see, medieval Islamic physicians indicated specific foods for each specific symptom as a natural remedy for the disease, but oftentimes certain ingredients were so effective in treating diseases and illnesses that they became a staple in the practice of food as medicine. For example, syrups were a staple food in medieval Islamic medicine. There were a wide variety of syrups commonly used, and the following is an example of an Islamic recipe for carrot syrup soup, which was used to help heat the kidneys of those with a lack of urine and to dissolve phlegm. Step 1 is to remove the center fibers of 4 rattles or pounds of carrots and add enough water to cover them and cook them until their substance comes out. Step 2 is to filter the substance and keep the clear portion. Then add 3 rattles of honey, which has been cleaned of its foam. Step 3 states, put in ukiah, or 7 teaspoons of cubebs, 2 ukiyahs, or 14 teaspoons of ginger and long pepper, and half an ukiah, or 3.5 teaspoons of cinnamon and flour of cloves in a spice bag. Step 4 is to cook all ingredients until they take the form of a syrup, and to drink an ukiah of the syrup with 3 ukiyahs of hot water. In some cases, food was just used to enhance general health instead of for the treatment of a specific disease or illness. Ibn Sina, ancient Islamic physician, said that there are 4 general humors of the body: yellow bile, black bile, phlegm, and blood, which are all important for proper bodily functioning. Each of the four have a specific temperament, which can be produced via the ingestion of food. For example, mustard, onion, and garlic produce yellow bile, old goat and bull and wheat bread produce black bile, large fish and milk produce phlegm, and the meat of young chickens and loaf of semolina produce blood. So, as you can see, food was the foundation of medieval Islamic medicine. Food was effective in both preventing and treating a multitude of diseases and illnesses, and in enhancing overall health.